Hi, this is an introduction to embroidery, and I wanted to talk about the different things that you might need to start embroidery. So you're going to need a hoop, some floss, a pattern, which I've already put on this fabric, a piece of fabric, some scissors, and needles. I'm going to show you how to hoop up your fabric. So when you're looking for a good quality hoop, you want something that the wood is a little bit rough. You don't want it to be ultra smooth. But you also want to make sure that you don't have a lot of gaps in here. There shouldn't be a lot of light shining through. Everything should fit nice and tight so that the fabric will be held nice and tight. There are certain types of fabric that you might want to use that are more slippery, like if you were using a satin or a polyester, they tend to slip out of the hoop a little bit more, so you want to make sure you have a good quality hoop that'll hold on to that fabric and keep it nice and tight. So you'll separate your hoop. The back of the hoop is this, and the front of the hoop is this. You put the hoop below your fabric, and then loosen your hoop up here so it'll stretch around the fabric. You want it to be relatively tight. Don't want to have any wrinkles, so you can turn it over. You see there's no wrinkles really here. So now we're going to start tightening up here. We don't want to tighten everything up right away because we're going to pull everything to get the tension set and make sure that there's absolutely no wrinkles before we tighten it down further. So I have lines here that will kind of guide me. Typically these aren't necessary. Just want to make sure your design is centered. Okay, and then I can look at the back, and I don't see any massive wrinkles or puckering. No wrinkles or puckering. So we tighten this all the way down. And you should sound kind of like a drum when you're done. So now it's in the hoop. So now we're going to talk about how to thread your needle. So these needles are in a magnetic case. You might want to get one. It's nice for keeping all your needles in one place, making sure you don't lose track of them, because a needle in your foot would be really uncomfortable and has caused people terrible injury. So, want to keep them in a safe place. I'm going to take one out. And there's different size thicknesses, as you can see. So this needle here is a really small eye, and this needle here is like a medium eye. They'll have different numbers, but basically the number corresponds to the thickness of the needle and how big the eye is. So you can see they have way different sizes. I usually use a medium size eye for most of my work because I tend to work with 3 strands. So embroidery floss comes with 6 strands. So if you unwrap it, usually use about 18 inches or so, and we cut it with the embroidery scissors, like so. So if I hold this up for you, there's 1, 2, there's 2 here, so 3 and 4, and 2 there, 5 and 6. And you can take these and spread them into however many groups you want. You can use the full thickness, and then you would use this needle here for all 6 strands because the eye is much bigger. Or I use this one for 3, but you can even use a single strand for detailed work, and so you'd use an eye like this. The needle is very skinny. The bigger the needle, the bigger the hole you're going to put in the fabric, so you don't want to do that if you don't have to, you don't want to make the hole too big. So that's why you have different thicknesses for different numbers of thread. So you just pull on the thread. I'm separating the 3 strands here. So I'll take and put my finger here and move down the thread. Hold these 2 with my other hand. And now I have 2 sets of 3. And then you take these in your hand and we're going to make a knot. And this is so we can start the thread into the fabric on the back. So this knot will stop the fabric from coming all the way through. So I try to get 2 knots in the exact same location there. And then you want to put all 3 strands through your needle. I tend to lick the end of the thread to make it a little bit more manageable. And you just stick the end through the hole. And then you'll want at least 2 to 3 inches, sometimes more, of the thread down the length. And that's to keep it from coming out of the eye all the time. So now you have your needle is threaded. Now we're done. Flip over to the back here, thread underneath that, stitch the last stitch that you made, catch this loop here, and pull. Sometimes I like to do this twice just to make sure my knot is good. Okay, so I have a secure knot right there. I do have a loop here. If that bothers you, since it's already knotted, you can just cut away that excess. If it's in the back, you're not going to see it.